Hi there, Crossroads. This is Brad and Terry, and we are here for another episode of What
What
Now?
now?
Last week, Brad talked about in the message about doing our
Yep.
assignment.
And one of the things we wanted to clarify as we began talking about this is what we're not talking about is our relationship with God or being in a right relationship with God. That's paramount. And if you're not in a right relationship with God, then we need to surrender God
Yeah.
to God, and we need to change that. But what we're talking about as a follower of Jesus, what is our assignment?
So, when you were talking about that whole, developing or going and doing our assignment,
Yep.
I started thinking about so many times we spend the time wondering, where is my assignment? Where's
Yep.
my ideal assignment that I'm supposed to be in?
Yeah.
Where should I go? Where should I be? What should I do? And we need to realize that it's right where we're at.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that can get in the way is that comparison game,
Yeah. For sure.
which I think can be something that the enemy throws at us to keep our eyes really off where we're supposed to be
Yep.
and keeping them on where everybody else is.
Yep.
And if you've experienced social media at all, clearly that's a place where the comparison game can happen.
Yep.
And we start thinking the perfect assignment is the one that they have.
Yeah.
And we start wondering, what's mine?
Yep. Yeah, and I just want to, thank out loud for the person who sent me a picture on social media of their kids on a beach somewhere in the South in response to what I said about social media and envying people on vacations.
Yeah.
So just
took
thank you.
note.
Yeah. So speaking of that and being stuck here in Minnesota during the freezing cold, what did you think of the story of Hagar?
Okay, can I be honest?
Yeah.
Because I will always be honest here. That's the point of this.
Right.
The story of Hagar is one of those kind of like the Mary Martha story that just kind of bugs me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Hagar goes out into the wilderness, she has an encounter with God, with his angel.
Yeah.
A direct one. They're talking.
Yeah.
And what does the angel say? I know you're suffering. Go back and just suffer well for your maidservant.
Yeah.
No, what for
you,
Sarah?
Sarah.
For the
Yeah.
for the one in
Submit.
charge. Submit, and yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Those kind of things are hard.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was remembering as I was prepping for this of how I used the story of Hagar a number of years ago at a men's retreat, which is interesting because when you think of men's retreat and maybe using a character from the Old Testament, you think of King David and teaching how to kill your giants, and or Joshua and how to conquer that promised land and I really had felt that weekend that what I needed to bring across was sometimes, like Hagar, God asks us to stay in a situation that's really hard because He has an assignment for us there. And it was interesting for me at the end of that session where I used that story, I had a couple men actually come up to me and they were in really difficult situations and had been praying like crazy that God would pull them out of that situation. And they came to just a change and we're like, maybe what we need to do now is just ask God, what does He want from us in this situation? What is He trying to teach us? Maybe there's something He's wanting us to do while we're in this situation.
And those were even really hard situations for them.
Yeah, it was
Right.
very hard, very,
Yeah.
very difficult things.
So then the big question is, does God rescue us ever in different situations?
Well, the short answer is yes.
Okay,
We
you're
all,
going to expound on that, right? I hate that.
maybe, and definitely, God rescues us, and we see stories of that all over the place in the Bible, and even hear stories of that in, of fellow believers or throughout church history. And I think of Hebrews 11, the Hall of Faith that lists all the people in there that God rescued or did amazing things because of faith and rescued them from the mouth of the roaring lion and all that kind of language, which was really great. And then it has that shift about halfway through the chapter and it starts talking about how some were kept in chains and some were beaten and some were martyred and even sawed in two. It's just like, and it was all because of their faith. They had faith. They were able to do that. And sometimes God's assignment for us is a really hard assignment.
So the bottom line is we don't know when we're going to get rescued, and we can ask that of God.
Yep.
And yet it reminds me of the beautiful woman that I've heard you talk about many times, the one in China, who, because of her faith, directly because of her faith, she was sent to prison many times.
Yeah.
She was treated horribly because of her faith. But when she was sent to prison, her reaction was, God must have someone in prison for me to share my faith with. And God never disappointed.
Nope.
Because he would provide the people, but she was ready to be able to talk with them.
Yeah.
So my takeaway with her story, and so many that we hear about, is that they embraced where they're at. Embracing their situation and saying, in this moment, right now, what can I do? God, what do you want me to do here? Because this is my assignment.
Yeah.
And that was huge. Yeah. So we need to see how we can impact people with the love of Jesus on the journey of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's really the story behind, I think, Paul's message is no matter what situation you're in, how can you impact people with the love of Jesus on the journey of life? And that's going to be our challenge to ourselves. It doesn't mean it's easy. And that's going to be our challenge to you too. Look at your situation. Ask God, how do you want me to love other people really, really well in this situation? Now, just one last caveat. If you're in a place where you're getting abused, get out. I mean, this doesn't mean you have to stick in an abusive situation. Get out. And
let us know if you need help.
If you need help, please give us a call. Reach out to us. We want to help you and pray with you. So thanks for joining us for another episode of What Now?